Welcome to the Show Me the Way podcast. I am your host, Andrea Miller, alongside a dear, dear friend, Tammy Thompson, and we are so excited to bring this podcast to you. Show Me the Way podcast is a podcast dedicated to exploring the journeys of those who have faced adversity and found themselves on unexpected paths. We will have meaningful, thoughtful conversations about challenges we have faced and how we discovered and forged new direction. Prepare to be inspired and to uncover your own strength as you listen to relatable and motivating stories. Life has a way of twisting and turning, and we often need a fresh perspective to understand how to navigate. Let's show each other the way. In this episode, I was able to speak with Sam Rybar, an amazing chiropractor, entrepreneur, athlete, and person. Sam pivoted early on by choosing her chiropractic career and deciding to open her own business. She thought she'd focus on athletes and quickly recognized other needs, from the everyday athlete like herself to the growing concerns of women and their health. Not following the typical path of many chiropractors, Sam combines physical therapy, massage, and overall health with her care, and for that reason has longer appointments than you'd expect. She is proud of how she runs her business and what she has gone through, but definitely realized a need for a better work-life balance. And all of that really became apparent when she broke her wrist at a wedding a couple years ago. She's had to alter her business and pivot quite a bit since then, but is grateful for the knowledge, perspective, and growth. Sam credits her village of fellow chiropractors, mentors, business connections, and her family and friends to helping her get to where she is today. And I, for one, am excited to see where she goes next. This conversation is a great one for us all, business owners or not. We can apply what Sam shares to life and can certainly learn from this incredible woman. And welcome back to the Show Me the Way podcast. I'm so honored to have one of my dear friends, Sam Rybar, on the show. I met Sam through a business networking international group a few years ago. At the time, I really wanted to grow my real estate business, and she was just starting out her chiropractic business. I knew immediately after hearing her speak that I wanted to be closely connected to this bright, fun, outgoing, intelligent woman. Sam brings so much to everything that she does, from running to CrossFit to family time to her business, and it has been so amazing to watch her grow and become the success that she is today. Although I have not seen Sam in person in quite some time, she's done a great job of keeping in touch. And as always, she's so kind whenever I reach out. I knew she'd be great to be on this show. So welcome, Sam.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Andrea. As Andrea said, I am Dr. Sam Rybar. I'm a chiropractor in the Wixom and Farmington area. And we did meet in a business networking group almost 6 years ago, because my practice will be 6 years old next week. And I was very fresh to the business world. Andrea was leading the group, and we had a pretty instant connection. I fell in love with her and her family. And like she said, we do not get together in person nearly enough, but I love catching up, voice memos back and forth. She taught me about those to stay connected. And I really love supporting her family in their mission with Nathan's Ninjas. Whether I can be there in person or not, I've just really enjoyed being part of that with them. So I'm honored to be on today.
Oh, that's so great. 6 years. Wow, that's crazy. That seems a lot longer. And you're right. I was able to watch you grow and just to see where you are today. And that's just so cool. And I'm glad you brought up Nathan's Ninjas. The reason I started this podcast was to share my story about my son Nathan. And you've heard me say, listeners, you've heard me say a couple of times that my husband and I run a nonprofit called Nathan's Ninjas, and Sam is a huge support. In fact, she and her mom and her teammates have come out and actually done some chiropractic work to the runners and the walkers actually on site in the past. So it's been really fun to be able to partner with her on that. So glad that you brought that up. We shared a little bit about you, but is there anything else you'd like to tell our listeners about you?
I am a Brighton, Michigan native. I got married last March, so almost first anniversary to my husband, Matt. We have 3 dogs, 2 huskies, Shasta and Kava, and a golden doodle named Luna. I'm super close with my family as well as Matt's family, so we really prioritize that time. Both he and I are business owners, so loving to support each other in that growth. I am a huge runner. I'm one of those people. Enjoy crossfitting, strength training, being outside, skiing, snowboarding, you name it. I enjoy doing it. And then, yeah, I'm a chiropractor. That's my day job. And I have a huge passion for women's health, which I'll dive into a little bit more. But it's been fun figuring out myself over the last 6 years.
That is great. And it's been fun to watch. It's really cool how you have adapted your chiropractic business. I've always said from the very beginning, you are not a typical chiropractor. You embrace so many different pieces of health. And so I'm excited to dive into more of what you're going to say. And speaking of women's health, I could really use some of that advice right now. So it's great to have you on. As you can kind of tell, my voice is a little raspy here. So we're all kind of dealing with that at the beginning of January, especially in Michigan, where it's 9 degrees one day and today it's sunny and it's going to be 44. So just never know what you're going to get. But anyway, I do want to point out too, the last couple of episodes, my partner Tammy has not been with us. So she's with us in spirit today. She's unable to be part of the podcast. She's got a lot going on with her job and what she's trying to figure out in sunny Florida. So, like I said, she'll be with us in spirit. But we're just going to wing it. We're gonna start a conversation, just the two of us, and we're going to see how it goes. So, with that said, as you know, the Show Me the Way podcast is really just so far it's been all women except my husband. I've had one guy, but it's really just people, doesn't have to just be women, people sharing times in their life where they thought they were on one path and something came up or changed and they needed to take a different course, try something different. They had to pivot. Sometimes it's very positive, sometimes it took a negative turn, but we always learn so much from the perspective that our guests have shared. So I'm going to allow Sam to share a story, something that's on her heart. I'm sure she has quite a couple of different ones that she could choose from, like we all do. But yeah, just a moment, a time in your life, a story that you want to share with our listeners about a time you thought you were going one direction and you had to pivot.
All right, I will dive into a more recent, relevant example, but honestly, jumping into the world of chiropractic was a pivot in and of itself way back in 2014. That was just a quick minute ago. So, even jumping into that profession, but I ran with it. I graduated from Logan College of Chiropractic with my Doctor of Chiropractic and my Master's in Sports Science and Rehab in December of 2018. Started my practice in February of 2019. So, moving along, I came out of school. I have a really great mentor, Dr. Karen Slota, as well as other business mentors in my realm. But I had an opportunity to just start my practice by myself. I had a vision of really working with athletes, and that quickly I realized was not really what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with everyday athletes, aka normal people like myself, who enjoy being active in an active lifestyle, but really just want an improved quality of life. So quickly understood that the sports world wasn't really where I was going to be and just started treating patients. Practice has grown over time, and it really got to a place where my business was running me. I wasn't running the business. I had a pretty significant lack of work life balance. And I know most of us in the entrepreneurial world end up there at some point, but it was fall of 2023. I was meeting with my business coach, who has been an absolute awesome mentor and guiding light in my practice. And we were looking at numbers. Numbers were looking good, patient numbers, money, all the business things that I hate keeping track of. But I was exhausted and I was burnt out. And I looked at her and I said, Coach Kathy, I feel like I'm backed into a corner. And she goes, those are not awesome words I like to hear from my business owners. And so we were really trying to figure out ways to get me out of that cycle. However, sometimes God, the universe, the higher beings that are really take care of you. And so I was in one of my really good friends' weddings, October 7th of 2023. I made a really poor decision without any alcohol in my system to jump and chest bump one of my great strong guy friends during the intro of this wedding in high heels on a polished concrete floor. And I came down and broke my left wrist. It was very much a panic moment. I was surrounded by a bunch of chiropractors and I just waited for the DJ to stop talking and the eyes to come off of me. My wrist was pretty misshapen. And I looked at my friends and said, I don't think this is a chiropractic problem. I don't think we can fix it. And went to the emergency room, missed the reception, but I got to see Haley's wedding, which was amazing. And so many thoughts flipped through my brain. I was a chiropractor, and the word chiropractic literally means to do by hand. And having one of those broken was a pretty scary moment. So I had to pivot literally very quickly. So that is kind of where things started to change.
Yeah, and I love that you said God, universe, higher power had to really give you that sign. I talk about that a lot on the show. I believe in God, I believe in signs. And unfortunately, sometimes those of us that are type A or hardworking, we don't see the subliminal messages. So sometimes God has to break our wrists, unfortunately, for us to make major changes. And gosh, yeah, when you said that, I remember that and thinking, okay, that's her business. She needs her hand. It's not like she can just go back to her desk job and do work. This is going to alter what she's trying to do.
It absolutely did. And you're absolutely right. We ignore the little signs and the little messages, and sometimes you're told to sit down and really reevaluate. So it was really strange. I was oddly calm for such a type A person, but really I came to terms with there's nothing I can do. What's done is done. So as soon as I got out of the ER, it was late that night. Next day, I was traveling home, figured that all out, and I had to start reaching out to my patients. I'm a one woman show, so I do the scheduling, I do the payment collecting, I do the appointment reminders. So I had to start messaging my patients. I didn't really know when I was going to have surgery, what that was going to look like. And so as soon as I did that, I called my business coach and I said, Kathy, when can we meet? I have a little bit of a problem. I also called my financial planner, who amazing human, and he reassured me things were going to be okay. Emergencies, accidents happen, and we'd get through it. So I had a really awesome team in place, but it was kind of a sabbatical. I was out almost 3 months in total away from hands on patient care. But during that time, I met with my business coach quite a few times, and we had the time and I had the clarity to take a step back and start to understand that how I was running my practice was not sustainable. Andrea mentioned that I'm not the typical chiropractor. So I'm a very soft tissue focused chiropractor as well as movement based. So appointments in my office are longer, like 30 to 60 minutes. I'm with patients. It's not just a 5 minute patients coming in and out really quickly. And I do a lot of manual therapy with my hands, soft tissue kind of massage type work. So I had to figure out what that was going to look like moving forward, even when I was healed. Part of that was because I'm a different type of chiropractor, I made the big choice to go out of network with insurance, which is a big deal in the chiropractic realm. And then just had to kind of navigate a pricing structure to put a value on my time and kind of make things work out. So I finally got to back to work. That was beginning of October. By mid to end December, I was starting to see some patients, some kind of virtual doing more movement stuff or just in the office for active rehab and trying to find other ways. But it really jolted me to the thought that there may be other times in my life where I'm not able to be as hands on, and depending on my two hands so heavily wouldn't be the best plan. So it really got me on this path to thinking about how to pivot and how to grow my practice, which is a journey I'm continuing to walk through right now.
Love that. And you know what is really respectable and something that I've always noticed with you, like you're young business owner. And when you started, it was like right out of college, here I go. I'm going to open my business. A lot of people don't have that kind of experience at that age. And I like that you have never been afraid to ask for help. You could say, I've got it, I'll figure it all out. But immediately you leave the emergency room and you're thinking about the business contacts you need to reach out to. So I like that you're open to having people coach you, having people provide experience and knowledge so that you can continue to learn and grow. I don't think a lot of business owners are that open.
It was definitely something I was not great at. I was asking for help, but I learned through groups like our business networking group and just friendships and learning from other business owners and people who have done this before that a good business leader has a team around them, whether it's in their office or more external. They have mentors in different facets of a business. And so I realized there was no way I was going to get through 3 months out of work. And again, being a one woman show, I didn't have the benefits or short term disability, things like that to lean on. So luckily, I have a great support system of my family, my husband, Bob, who I wrote my space from, my mentor, just a community to lean into and support and give guidance to during that time.
Love that. And I appreciate that you're still on this journey and you'll continue to be on this growing and learning journey. But what is business looking like these days?
So, made some of those really positive changes, and they've pretty much been in effect for a year now. I have a much better work-life balance, something I'm going to continue working at. Evening hours are a sticking point. People love after school, after work, but just really trying to prioritize my marriage and hopefully someday starting a family. So having that time freed up. So I did something new this year. I am working on a menopause coaching certification to help women. So I thought I was going to work with athletes, and then my patient demographic slowly morphed into women from 35 to 70, which is quite a span. And a lot of women have the same questions, concerns, pain points, and I'm getting asked the same things over. So I figured out a way to go get more education and then have started some group classes on women's health to just share these things with larger groups of women. And I would like to continue pivoting, moving my practice towards a hybrid where I have a coaching element. So less hands on, less demands on my body to coach through those transition points in a female's life, be it pregnancy, postpartum, perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. That's just what I have a passion for. And so trying to find different ways to connect with those groups of people. And then I love working hands on in my office. I will never give that up, but want to have other ways to help people if I'm at a place where I can't be hands on as much.
And that's great too, because sometimes we get stuck in our heads like our business has to look like this. And I appreciate that you understand it needs to morph and it needs to change or you just won't be relevant anymore. So I love that. It's also amazing to me the need and the want for women, especially my age group. Like we are just we're just looking for these kinds of answers and these kinds of groups. So you're hearing it more and more. And I've had a couple of guests on the show from Moms in Business. I was trying to lead a Moms in Business in my area over the last year. Like Sam, I'm kind of a little type A sometimes, and I'm trying to do all kinds of things. But sometimes you do have to listen and say, is this right? Is it aligning with me? So I'm not incredibly focused on it anymore. But it leads me to think about one of the events that we had last year with a chiropractic and a physical therapy office. And it was the same thing. The chiropractic women there were talking a lot about women's health, menopause, perimenopause. And I had never thought about it as a chiropractic need before. So that's very interesting to me.
There's definitely, you have to be careful of scope and certifications and things that you can do, but in chiropractic school we are taught a lot of things along the continuum of health, and we can kind of jump in and specialize. So there's chiropractors that specialize in specifically neurology, brain injuries. There's people who specialize in reading x-ray and radiology, pediatrics, pregnancy, sports. And so jumping into women's health, I just found this huge gap in need. I by no means am the only one that can help, but really what I want to do is empower women to have a series of questions, find the right medical providers who can help with hormone testing and potentially medical interventions. I can help more on the conservative side as far as supplements and lifestyle changes, but I just want women to know where to go, because that's the big thing as they come in here, and unfortunately their primary care physician or an OB who is really more trained in pregnancy and is great at that has minimal training hours potentially just in menopause. And there are more and more women jumping into that perimenopause and menopause phase and beyond each day, just with where our population's at. So there's a huge need, and I felt like that was where I was called to jump in and help.
Yeah, I like that so much. That's great. And I'm interested in learning more about that for sure. It's amazing how many of us too probably have the same questions and concerns, but we think we can't talk about that or I'm abnormal or nobody's like me. But then when you start bringing it up or you're around groups of women, you're like, me too, me too, me too. You all have the same conversation. So it's kind of makes me sad that I'm getting to be that age, but whatever, it is what it is. But yeah, it's interesting that there is that need. So good that you're continuing to grow and learn. I love that.
Thank you.
And I did hear you say start a family, but girl, you already have a family. You got those 3 dogs running you, right?
We do still have the 3 dogs, the four-legged children, so,
Yes.
um, that is not where we're at yet, but at some point, we hope to expand our family. And so that's where my brain is just giving myself and Matt and hopefully potential future children an opportunity to be involved and just be available. So
Mm.
I do look to friends and moms who have maybe jumped off a traditional path. You are in that category to be able to be with your family and support in that role of mom, wife, as well as bad bleep business owner. So
Yes.
I'm trying to build that network, and I have a lot of women that I look to. And so, but no, that takes planning as a type A person. You don't just like magically have a schedule that's carved out and able to adapt and handle that. So
Yes. Well,
trying my
good.
best.
Good, good. Well, it does sound like you continue to grow and learn every single day, but I love when our guests are able to share perspective with our listeners. So, are there some things that you've learned that you would like to share with our listeners as you've continued to go on to this other path and pivot when you need to?
Uh, the big thing, and I touched on a little bit before, is learning to ask for help. There's no sense in recreating the wheel over and over for things that have been done. So, not being afraid to sit at a table with people who have done it, are, tenured in their careers, have had more life experience, showing up, knowing that you belong, but also understanding that you can and should learn from them, asking for help, knowing where to build your team, and that's in personal and professional life. As an entrepreneur, those lines are very blurred. Your professional hat is on and then your personal hat, and they're blended. So being able to have mentors among all facets of that, I think, is super important. And as a type A control freak, I completely understand that's where I'm at. Being able to step back and let go and really understand that there's only so much I truly can control. And a lot of it has to do with my attitude and perspective on things, not necessarily the general outcome. My dad has a phrase he shares with me, and it always frustrates me. He always says, manage the activity, not the end result. I would roll my eyes, but it so applied to everything, whether it was basketball growing up, whether it was test scores. All I could do was manage the hours I practiced, not the end of the game, the time I studied, not the final test result. And I've applied it to business. So I roll my eyes, but I also know it's led me quite a few places positively.
Wow, yeah, that's a great lesson for us all. I feel like every time I have a guest on here, even though we go back and forth, like, when are you free? When are you able to do an interview? I feel like it's always so timely. I just started reading the Mel Robbins, the book, the Let Them Theory.
It's on my list.
And oh my gosh, it's so good. I am having trouble putting it down. It's so in line with so many things of what you just said. And the last chapter I was reading was talking about when you compare yourself to others, when you look at others, you see their successes, and you can either look at it and kind of make it a torture type thing for yourself, or you can make it a teachable thing. So many times we see people and we're like, oh, how'd they become so successful? And how did they do that? And I wish I could be like that. And to your point, you can't control what other people are doing. You can't control their timing. You can't control anything that they've done to get to where they are today. They might have had some luck. They might have had some strategy. They might have been working behind the scenes for 10 years to get to where they are today, and you haven't even seen it. And you can either sit there and be jealous and never get to reach your goals, or you can watch these successful people and say, I want to learn from them. I want to do what they're doing. They're showing up on social media like this. I need to do that too. So you can take action based on surrounding yourself with these successful people. I mean, not everybody's going to be the perfect partner for you or the perfect mentor, but instead of looking at these people as like competitors, you can say, I can learn from you and I can make my own success. There's plenty of room on this earth to have your own success. No matter how many chiropractors are out there, you're all unique. So I love that you've always said, I've got people from school, I've got people from different networking activities that I've been involved in. You go to conferences, I met with these awesome chiropractors. And then instead of saying they're better than me, you're learning and continuing to take these people's ideas and meld them into your own. And you've said the word mentor more than once. So I think these are very good lessons for our listeners today, especially business owners.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, you have to get that book. It's so good. I think it was written for so many of us. I don't know. I think the thing about Mel Robbins is that she just really brings it to a very real and relatable place. Almost everything that she teaches. So yeah, I knew I would bring that up because it's on my mind. So, well, good. Okay, so let's see. You told us a little bit about this crazy broken wrist and the slap in the face that needed you to change your business. And then you talked a little bit about perspective. If you could go back and again, younger than me, so it wasn't too long ago. If you could go back to that person that was trying to figure things out in the beginning of your business and give her some thoughts, what would you say?
Great question. Kind of just did a little reflection with my business coach, Kathy, about that. She was like, 2018 Sam coming out of school would be so stoked about 2025 Sam. And it's hard to like look back like that. You don't always do so, but I would tell her I wouldn't do anything different. I really wouldn't. I would never want to start a practice over again from square one, to be completely honest. But I would just tell her to keep stepping forward a day at a time. Ask the questions. Don't be afraid to put in the long days. And I say I got myself to a point of burnout, but there's a time and a place early in a business. The statistics are against young businesses not surviving. And so I think early on, those really, really long late nights and weekends and things were super necessary. But telling her that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, anybody you come across in your journey has a purpose and has a place there. So ask the questions. They may teach you what you don't want to do, but that's just as important of a lesson as what you do want to do. And I tell her to just continue to find mentors in and outside of chiropractic because business is a universal language, whether you're in the healthcare field, whether you're in education, IT, business principles are business principles. I'd tell her to read, listen to podcasts, and really talk to people. Even if you're more introverted, you'll learn a lot from talking to people.
That is great. And you probably can take some of the things that you've learned and even roll it to your personal and your athletic part of your life too, I would guess. So, do we have any races coming up?
I don't have anything on the calendar yet. I'm sure I'll run something this spring, but I had a pretty busy fall with some races and some big stuff. So I just, in the winter, really try to motivate to get outside and run and with Matt and try to get the Huskies out because they love this time of year and they love to run with me. And so they do motivate me, but absolutely can apply business, sport, life. It all applies to all.
For sure. Do you have people that you look to as mentors in that realm as well, like in the running world?
There's some really awesome female marathoners, Des Linden, Kara Goucher, that are just people I love to look to. They have great books that I've read and have inspired. And then just on a like super personal is my mom's always been my idol in that realm. She is an incredible runner, though she's had 2 hip replacements now. She'll be back running soon. So she's been my idol on that front, close to home.
Love that. So for anyone that says that maybe age stops them from exercising or any surgery stop them, she's a great motivator there because
Absolutely.
you can
Got to
you
keep
can
moving.
yep, got to keep moving. Love that. Well, yeah, I really just think you have such great energy and great light and I really look up to you. I did not have the head that you have on your shoulders when I was younger, not at all. So it's been really fun. And this is just a reminder that we need to see each other more. I know that we
Yes.
used to see you more as patients for a little while, and then that kind of ended. And I've chose Nathan Ninja running dates that haven't worked with your calendar, but we'll do better this year so that we can see you in person again because I know that my whole family would love to see you. I know my boys like when you give them a couple of little massages or some work when they see you in person. But yeah, it would be wonderful to have you at one of our or both of our big events this year. So we'll work on that. But yeah, it was just so wonderful being able to take some of your time. I know you're very busy. You got just a few open slots here and there. So appreciate you giving us time today. Is there anything else you think that our listeners should take away from today's little discussion?
I think the big thing, and I've hit on it a lot, is talk to people, find your mentors, and as life changes and pivots, add to that. Not everyone in your life stays there forever. They may have a purpose, a season, or a reason, but don't be afraid to continue evolving in who you talk to and who you ask questions to as your life changes. Because if we're really staying still, we're not growing, and that's not awesome.
Yes, I love that, and that's not awesome. Yeah, I that's spot on for sure. Well, great. It was so good to have you on and to see your smiling face. I know my listeners can't see you because we're just recording, but I get to see you. So, thank you so much for giving us some time and Yeah, I can't wait for people to learn from this. Again, it's great for business owners, for entrepreneurs, but also just for people in general, because I think you can apply a lot of what you said today just to improve your life. So appreciate that.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us for the Show Me the Way podcast. We truly appreciate you tuning in to today's episode about overcoming adversity and finding your path. We hope it brought you new insights, empowered you with perspective, and inspired you to find joy in your journey. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone who could use a little motivation. Until next time, keep seeking the light and showing the way.